What up, everybody? It's your man, Abuamerican. Now, believe it or not, I have a faceless driving channel, and I do a lot of video, which allows me to upload like 3 times a week. And I'm so far ahead that I'm like into December with 3 posts a week. So I figured, and what happens is when I drive, I record audio, I listen to audiobooks. Sometimes I upload with altered sound, audiobooks and whatnot. And I don't know. I don't know if this is some sort of content you guys would be interested in. But if you are, let me know in the comment section. If not, that's also cool. Let me know in the comment section. But it will make my posts regular. These are just the rules that I listen to on SoundCloud. If you're interested in one of these rules and you hear something that you like, then I encourage you to go on SoundCloud, look it up. I'll try to put the titles in the description so that you know, who I'm listening to, what the topic is, even the link if possible. What else was there? So the SoundCloud part on this starts at about 9 minutes into the video. I'm obviously not going to talk 9 minutes here. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. I do a whole lot of these videos, so if you guys are interested, let me know. If I have any concepts or ideas, or whatever else, or you have questions and you want to ask them in the comment sections of these videos, do it. And then these driving videos, instead of the video games, these will be the ones that I'll answer the questions on and then upload it here. My driving channel, I'm not, I don't really like sharing it because I just get too many weirdos following me here on Abuamerican. I just really don't need them on my other channels over there making trouble, just being a bunch of dorks. So it's like, those of you who have my travel channel, you see these videos, and then nobody has my faceless YouTube channels that are actually just driving channels. So this will be like triple uploads, 3 different websites or 3 different YouTube sites. What else was there? Yeah, that's it. So let me know what you think. If you're interested, I'll keep doing them. If you're not, I'll probably keep doing it anyway. I mean, people can learn about some Islam now too. And if I find some other topics, or whatnot that are interesting, I'll upload them here also. If you want to hear audiobooks, then you can go to my travel channel. If you have it, a lot of you guys don't have it, some of you do. And you can listen to the audiobooks over there. Although I consider it to be like mostly a waste of time. I don't even listen to them. I just pick one and I upload it with the video. And then it goes. Yeah, so again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment sections, and because I do about like 4 videos a week, I should be able to answer them pretty rapidly and upload them. They'll be delayed, of course, because they'll be coming out like over time, you know what I mean? Like twice a week, 3 times a week. But inshallah, I should be able to get to them and should be able to answer them. Your questions, I mean. All right, bros. Enjoying my driving around Europe doing construction jobs. It's your man, Abuamerican. I'm out.
inshallah, going through the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained by Sheikh Salih al-Haydan. Sheikh Salih al-Haydan was the head of the Qudat in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and there's a compilation, it's called Majalis al-Dhikr wal-Da'wa ila Allah fi Rihabi al-Masjid al-Haram. So these lectures actually he gave, or these explanations of ahadith he gave in Masjid al-Haram in Mecca. And I remember back in the days, subhanAllah, we used to see the Shaykh at Fajr. In Ramadan, he used to give these kalimat tadhkiriyah. When we go to Mecca, we will see the Shaykh at Fajr time giving these reminders. And also sometimes after Asr. So these were the times that were allocated to him on a regular basis, especially during Ramadan and during the holiday time. You always see him there. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Those lectures or those reminders were compiled into a book. And MashaAllah, tabarakallah, over maybe up to 100 lectures or reminders regarding the famous narrations of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. So we're going to start today inshallah with the first of them, and that is the hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, the hadith of Anas bin Malik radiyallahu anhu. And the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, ثلاث من كنا فيه وجد بهن حلاوة الإيمان. Three things, if the person has these characteristics or these traits, then he will have tasted the sweetness of faith. من كان الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواهما. First of them is that Allah and His Messenger are more beloved to him than anyone else. So you love Allah and His Messenger more than anyone, then that is a sign that you have tasted the sweetness of faith. Secondly, وأن يحب المرء لا يحبه إلا لله. That you love a person, you don't love him except for Allah's sake. تحب المرء لا تحبه إلا لله. You love somebody not because dunya, not because of monetary gain, not just because of family ties, because that's a natural love that you have, but you love this person because he is upon sunnah, and you love him because he is upon good manners and he is upon Quran and the sunnah. That is the wala and bara, love for Allah and hate for Allah. You love Ahlul Sunnah, you love the ulama of Ahlul Sunnah, and before that you love the prophets and messengers, and you love the companions. You love them for Allah, and you want to be with them. If that's your case, then that's the second sign that you have tasted the sweetness of faith. Thirdly, وَأَنْ يَكْرَهَ أَنْ يَعُودَ فِي الْكُفْرِ, and that you hate to return to kufr or disbelief بعد أن قَضَهُ اللَّهُ مِنْهُ, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him from it. كما يكره أن يقذف في النار, just as you would hate to be thrown into the fire or hate to be placed into the hellfire. As we said, the hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. These are three traits. Shaykh Salih al-Haydan says these are three traits which the best of the creation has mentioned. ذكرها سيد الخلق. It's true. Rasulullah is the best of creation, the best of the Anbiya, and he himself said, أنا سيد ولد آدم. I'm the best of the children of Adam. ولا فخر. I'm not boasting. من توافرت فيه ذاق حلاوة. So whoever has these three traits, then he has tasted the sweetness of faith. As for emaan, then we know that emaan is the six beliefs. Al-iman billah wa kutubihi wa rusulihi wal yawm al-akhir wal qadr khayrihi wa sharrihi. Believe in Allah and His books and the messengers and the last day, the angels and the last day and the pre-decree, good and bad. And when one looks at the six pillars of faith, Shaykh Salih al-Haydan said, it may be when one looks at these six pillars of faith, and he maybe cannot envisage how one would taste the sweetness of faith with regards to these 6 points. How is it that you can taste the sweetness of faith in regards to believing in Allah? No doubt, believing in Allah necessitates the three categories of Tawheed. Believing in His Lordship, that He's the Creator, and sustainer, the planner, and the owner of the Day of Judgment. And likewise, it necessitates Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, that you worship Him alone. And it necessitates Tawheed al-Asma' al-Sifat, Allah's beauty, maintain Allah's oneness with regards to His beautiful names and attributes. These are the three categories of Tawheed. So when you look at, for example, the names and attributes of Allah, the more you know about Allah, the more you love Allah. When you know Allah is Al-Latif, He takes care of the oppressed, He takes care of the needy, and He deals with the oppressor. Of course, this brings more love to you for Allah. This brings more love for Allah. And when you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is subtle, Al-Latif, subtle, and that He knows the minute affairs, the details of everything that occurs, then this will bring you closer to Allah, in fearing Him, in loving Him. When you know He's Al-Wadud, the loving, and He loves the believers. Wallah yuhibbul muhsineen. He loves the righteous doers. Yuhibbul muttaqeen. He loves the pious ones. Inna Allah ma'al ladina taqaw wal ladina hum muhsinun. He's with the pious ones and those who are righteous. He's with them. Ma'iyya al-khasa, specifically with them, meaning that He will aid them, and He will give them victory, and He will protect them. So when you know more about Allah, this will get you closer to Allah, and this will give you closest. This will give you the taste. You will taste the sweetness of faith if you start doing Allah and His angels. You know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent angels to protect us, those that are in front of us, those who are behind us, protecting us, Ya Abdullah. Angels, the relationship that you have with the angels when you're in the womb of your mother, and the angel blows the ruh into the fetus by the will of Allah. That is your interaction with the angels in the first instance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that commanded that. Again, that will get you closer to Allah in loving Allah, because you know Allah is protecting you. So when you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent angels, and these angels are there to protect you, aid you, and the angel, the Hamlatul Arsh, to carry the Arsh, that seeks forgiveness for you and supplicates for you. When you know you come to the masjid, you're waiting for the salah, the angels are supplicating for you. And you're in the salah even though you haven't started the salah, and after the salah, and you're in the adhkar, you're still in the salah, the angels are supplicating for you. Of course, this brings you love for Allah. This helps you taste the sweetness of faith. When you believe in, when you know the books that were sent down, you see that Allah wants goodness for the believers. He sent them messengers, He sent them books, and the last of them, the Quran. When you read the Quran, you ponder over the Quran, you see this beauty. This gets you closer to Allah, and you start to taste the sweetness of faith, because you know it's only from Allah. It cannot come from anybody else. When you read the Quran, it cannot come from anybody else. The perfection of each letter, of each word, of each meaning, of each parable and message is perfect. No, لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه تنزيل من حكيم حميد. No futility can come from in front of the Quran, not even behind it. From the beginning to the end, no contradiction. ولو كان من عند غير الله لوجدوا فيه اختلافا كثيرا. If it's from other than Allah, they would have found many differences and contradictions in it. No contradiction. Nobody can produce a chapter like it, not even a verse like it. Quran. So when you look at the books, when you know there's judgment day, again that gets you closest to Allah. Why? Because you know Allah is just. Everybody gets their what they are deserving of. Everybody gets their rights. And that again brings you closer to Allah. Sweetness of faith, to know that you are working towards pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is justice. And when you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decrees, and He wants good for the believers, and He wants people to be upon His deen. Yuridullahu bikum yusra. He wants ease for you. He doesn't want hardship for you. وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرِ. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants goodness for you. And He knows what's good for us. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded for us to pray 5 times a day, this is good for us. This actually benefits us. You see all these different people, how they worship in Allah. The Christians, how they have innovated their worship by singing and dancing and twirling. And you see also the Buddhists with their little triangle, they go ting. This is their worship, and this is, subhanallah, the way they get closer to their deities. But with Allah we have meaning. When we worship Allah we have meaning. If you know the meaning of Allah, you know who you are. Allah means the one deserves to be worshipped, then you know you're Abdullah. So here Sheikh Salih Al-Haidan, he mentions that indeed having faith of the 6 beliefs, maybe a person will not envisage how that sweetness of faith will be in believing the 6 beliefs, but there is a sweetness of faith in knowing the 6 beliefs and having knowledge of that. Then he says, for maybe the reason of not having enough reasons to bring about that taste. What would be the reasons? However, if a person, he says, if a person is pleased with the obedience to Allah, then this is a sign of the sweetness of faith. And he's happy with the sweetness of with the obedience to Allah. He's happy to do acts of worship. He's happy to perform the prayer. It's not just rushed. It's not Allahu Akbar, Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu alaikum. No, he's enjoying the prayer. The Rasul said, "Ju'ilat qurratu aini fi salah." The coolness of my eyes is in the prayer. So when you see a person, he's enjoying it, that is from the sweetness of faith. When you see a person, he's preparing for his akhirah, for the day of judgment, that is from the sweetness of faith. Why? Because he's clocking up the good deeds. He wants to continue. في ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون. And that is what you should be competing with, competing for. Not the dunya. The dunya, yes, the halal of it is allowed, and the upper hand is better than the lower hand. But the utmost competition is the akhirah. وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. So the person, when he does actions and he is sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking the face of Allah, that is from the sweetness of iman. Because now he's doing it, he's not doing it for the people. Allahumma la sum'a wa la riya. Oh Allah, not for showing off and not to be heard, not to be famous. But you look at the majority of the people in the world, they want to be famous, or they want the clicks, they want the followers. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, one time he was walking and some were following him. He said, "Go back, for you are trial for the one being followed, and I'm a trial for the one following. So I'm a trial for you and you're a trial for me." So he told him, "Go back." Abdullah ibn Mas'ud doesn't want people to gather around him. This is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, the great companion, the great Sahabi. And other companions, subhanAllah, they feared that shuhra, and they would live on the outskirts of Medina, fearing that the people will come to them more regularly. And this is from the sweetness of iman, that you want to please Allah, not to please the people. That you are trying to get closer to Allah, for seeking the face of Allah, not seeking the people. What can the people give you? In front of Allah, what can the people give you? How can the praise of the people help you in front of Allah? It's just you and your actions. And when he feels sorrow, sadness, and regret because he fell into a sin, that is from the sweetness of iman. Again, that is a sign from the sweetness of iman, he says. And also he brings a hadith in Muslim Imam Ahmad, Sunan Nasa'i, Sunan Tirmidhi, hadith which is raised, the hadith, من صرته حسنته وساءته سيئته فذلك المؤمن. The believer is the one who his good deeds make him happy and his bad deeds make him sad. Yes, when you're doing good deeds, they should please you. This is like, yes, I want to do this for Allah, not for the people. I want to get closer to Allah, and that is why you're doing it. And when you fall into sin, then you feel bad that I fell into a mistake. I fell into a sin and I regret. And Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said it may be a sin that you perform because of the tawbah you have will be a reason for you to get to Jannah. And it may be a good deed that you perform, but because of the arrogance that you have and pride over that good deed, that it overtakes you. The pride overtakes you thinking that you're saved. That may be a reason for you to enter the hellfire. So don't be don't be amazed with good deeds. If you do good deed, ask Allah that He accepts it. Don't be amazed with it. Don't think that, oh yeah, I did this, I did this, I did. What did you do in reality except that which Allah aided you? Because إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. It's Allah that aided you to do that good deed. So never feel self-sufficient. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, he would say, وَلَا تَكِلْنِي إِلَى نَفْسِي طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ. Oh Allah, don't leave me to myself the blink of an eye. So the believer is the one who is happy when he does good deeds, and he's sad when he falls into error. When he falls into a sin, he feels sad and regret and sorrow. And you find the person looking down, and he's shy to have even fallen into that bad deed. He's shy, and and he follows up a bad deed with a good deed that he may blot it out. That is the hadith of Rasulullah. وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُوهَا. And follow up a bad deed with a good deed that he may blot it out. Then he says, من إذا رأى أمر الله جل وعلا وأمر رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم طاقت نفسه للإتيان بما أمر. So when he sees a commandment of Allah and a prohibited matter, then he strives to do the commandments and he keeps away from the prohibited matters. Now if he falls into a sin, then he feels regret and he feels sorrow and sadness. And when he sees that which is prohibited, those prohibited actions, he doesn't just keep away from the prohibited actions. Shaykh Salih says he hates them. He doesn't just keep away from the haram, he hates the haram. He abhors the haram things, he abhors the haram. And he loves the good deeds. And that's why in the deen he looks at those who are better than him in the deen, because he aspires to do those good things. So he sees a generous person and he says, I wish I had wealth so that I could give charity like this generous person, or even better than this generous person. He doesn't aspire for wealth for the dunya, but he says, if I had £1 million, I would build a masjid with it, I would build a school with it. He wants wealth not for the dunya, he wants it for the akhirah. وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. So he's a person يَمْتَثِلُ أَوَامِرُ اللَّهِ. He is a person that fulfills the commandments of Allah, and he fears falling into the prohibited matters. He fears the haram. He fears falling into the haram, because ultimately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching him and he knows what he's doing. So first trait is that Allah and His Messenger ﷺ are more beloved to him than anyone else. So therefore he's not a person who compromises. When it comes to Allah and His Rasul, then he fulfills the commandments, keeps away from the prohibited matters. Whatever Allah, he returns everything back to the Quran and the Sunnah. What Allah said and what the Messenger ﷺ said. So that is revelation. So if he is truthful in this matter, in fulfilling the commandments and keep away from the prohibited matters, and he loves to do actions to please Allah, and he strives, he says, to bring about good to the servants of Allah for Allah's sake, not for the because some people they say, oh yeah, this man is generous and this, but did he do it for Allah's sake? Generosity is one thing, but if you're doing it just to give you satisfaction, that's one thing. But if you're doing it to please Allah, that's another. The believer is generous to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get closer to Allah, because he wants to taste the sweetness of faith. He's not doing it for the praise of the people. Oh, mashallah, he's jawad, hada rajul, mashallah, kareem. He's really kind, he's generous. He doesn't do it for that. If they praise him, they don't praise him, it doesn't bother him. That's why dispraise and praise for him is one. It's like the same. He's not bothered with people dispraising him, and he's not bothered with people praising him, because he's humble, and he is concerned with the higher goals. He is concerned. That's why Shaykh Sa'di rahimahullah, in his Sayr Allah, his beautiful lines of poetry, he said that their bodies are with you, but their souls are higher. You see a person, his body is with you, but his soul is seeking higher goals. And he said a beautiful line as well. همومهم, their concern is for Allah. وعزومهم is for Allah. Their striving is for Allah. It's not for the creation and shaitan. It's for Allah. So their striving is for Allah, and that's what Allah said. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا. Those who strive in our cause. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا. He didn't say في غيرنا, في الدنيا, في أمور أخرى, في لعلان لفلان وعلان. لا, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا. Those who strive in our cause. لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. We will guide them to good deeds. And Allah will even make it easy for you to do other good deeds. It all comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you have to start. You have to have that azima in your heart. And the jid, the ijtihad, the striving has to come and follow. So the first one is he loves Allah and His Messenger more than he loves anyone else. The second one, he loves a person, but he loves him only for Allah's sake. He doesn't love him for other than he sees a Muslim, he loves him for Allah's sake. He doesn't harm the Muslims. He doesn't speak ill of Muslims unless he's warning against the innovators, unless he's warning against somebody who's going to bring harm to the community. But in general, he doesn't harm Muslims with his tongue or hands. Al-Muslimu man salim al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. So he doesn't. Rather, he has wala wal bara, love for Allah's sake and hatred for Allah's sake. That is, whoever loves for Allah and hates for Allah and gives for Allah and withholds for Allah, فَقَدْ اسْتَكْمَلَ الْإِيمَانِ. It is fulfilled completeness of faith. He has completed faith, iman. Why? Because he's أعطى لله, he gave for Allah, ومنع لله, and he withheld for Allah, وأحب لله, وكذلك أبغض لله. يعني he hated for Allah's sake, he loved for Allah's sake. He loves this person because for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake, not for the dunya, not for monetary gain, but for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If that is the case, then he has the second trait of tasting the sweetness of faith. You love your brother for Allah's sake, and therefore you show kindness to the Muslims. You show kindness to the people, to community. You're not selfish. You're not just me, myself and I. It's not. Rather, you love to help. Su'al, tfaddal, come to the house, come for some food.